Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutade Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Part 5. Govardhan Hill. What do you follow up after Govardhan Hill? So we're going to be discussing Mukharā. And maybe some of you know something about Mukharā, but probably most of you don't know so much about Mukharā. But you all know about Radharani. And Mukharā is directly related to Srimati Radharani. She's grandmother, maternal grandmother. And I just picked an image from the internet. Shh. I picked an image from the internet that's going to be Mukura for tonight. There she is. And some of you have been to Vrindavan, and some of you who have been to Vrindavan have been to Govardhan Hill. We heard all about Govardhan Hill, even if you haven't been there. And on the north side of Govardhan Hill is Radhakund. And 2 kilometers southeast of Radhakund is where Mukharā lived. Her name, the place is Mukharā. Very simple place. And this is a photograph taken during Kartik month. And they used green floodlights for some reason. So everything looked greenish. And on the altar, going left to right, is Mukharā Devi and Radha, the granddaughter, and the daughter, Kirtida. And because I wanted to see something that wasn't so greenish, someone went there during this recent 4 or 5 days ago and took this photo. Nice winter outfit, little caps, looks like little toys, a car and a ball and a something and a something on the altar. This is the bathing ghat where Mukharā would take her bath each morning. And at the place, they have this rock, and I'm going to, little video, I'll play it shortly, but they move the rock around and it's like musical accompaniment. Very rudimentary. Let's see if it works. Okay, well you couldn't hear it. There's probably a way to get it to work, huh? No, it's just not coming out of the speaker at all. It's not coming out of the speaker at all. We'll try again. It should be a little bit longer than that. Little entertainment. In case you live in Mukharā, you may want to visit this little rock so it shows what's going on. And there is another altar where there's, of course, you can see it's not so opulent, but it's a deity of Radha and Krishna. And there's a little bit closer image of the same day, and here's a different day and much closer look of the deities, Radha Krishna deities. Simple, little village place, Mukharā. Mukharā is the name where Mukura resided, and some of you know the place where Radharani was born. The place where Radharani was born was named Raval, and before Radharani was born, it had a different name, Mukharavali, which was named after Mukura. So the little bit of background of Mukura. She had she was very old. When she was younger, she was a personal friend of Mother Yashoda's mother. Mother Yashoda, she was the mother of Yashoda was named Variyasi. So some of you know Parjanya. Parjanya was one of the Vaishya personalities born, and his wife was Variyasi, and Yashoda was her daughter. And Mukura became the mother or the nurse of Yashoda. You with me? She's pretty old. She's very old. And this is written by Rupa Goswami from Radha Krishna Gonadesh Deepika. That's on the mother's side. That's Yashoda. And then there's the father's side. So Krishna's maternal grandmother, was Patala Devi. Patala Devi was also a dear friend of Mukura. Out of intense affection for her friend, Mukura used to feed the infant Yashoda with her own breast milk. So a very intimate associate of Radha and Krishna. So she was like, Mukura was like the grandmother of Radha, but she was also like the grandmother of Krishna. So she had affection especially for Radha, but she had great affection for Krishna. But her role in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna was she was very protective of her granddaughter. There's our friend Mukura again. She with her husband, had 3 daughters and 5 sons. And Kirtida was the eldest of the daughters, so we know Mukura and Kirtida, then Radha. So the maternal grandmother of Radha. Bindu was her husband. And later, the daughter, Radha, was married to Vrishabhanu. Kirtida was married to Vrishabhanu, and they had as their daughter Radharani. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that Mukura possesses an admixture, that's a different English word, admixture, of parental love and friendship. This is towards Krishna. So the grandmother of Radha was also, in one sense, grandmother of Krishna. In the writings of Raghunath Das Goswami, his description is This is her role in Radha Krishna Līlā, in Vraja Līlā. This is our theme for this whole weekend. Angrily placing many obstacles to stop their amorous pastimes, Mukura Devi only increases the transcendental happiness of the two young grandchildren, Sri Sri Radha Krishna. I respectfully bow down before elderly Mukura Devi, and I place her lotus feet and on my head. The meaning of the name Mukharā, interesting, is talkative. So she was kind of fuddy, half blind, and she loved Radha, she loved Krishna, but she was very protective of her grandmotherly role as Radha's grandmother. There's a very interesting, amongst many interesting descriptions in Rupa Goswami's writings. And this one is from Lalita Madhava, Act 1. And in Lalita Madhava, Act 1, it's the description given by Rupa Goswami is that Radha was taken by Purnamasi from Putana. Now we know, as we see in the painting, there's Krishna who was on the chest of Putana, but Rupa Goswami describes not only Radha, but 5 other girls were on the chest of Putana. And we'll hear a little bit about how that happened. Because she had kidnapped these girls from Vindhya's wife. And then Purnamasi gave Radha to Mukura. So would you like to hear that interesting? Remember, it doesn't go point A to point B. So get ready for some clever maneuvers. So the background, and this is Lalita Madhava, Act 1. The beginning of the description is the Vindhya hills had a competitive relationship with the Himalayas. So the Vindhya hills were trying to get taller and taller and taller to compete. That's called material, right? To compete with the Himalaya hills. Agastya Muni knew of this mindset of the Himalaya hills, so he purposefully went to the Vindhya hills. And when Agastya came, Vindhya bowed down to offer respects. Agastya said, very good. Stay like that until I come back. And he didn't come back. So Vindhya understood he couldn't violate what Agastya Muni had said. And so he decided to try his material competition program in a different way. He underwent great austerities for a long, long time. And in reciprocation for those austerities, Lord Brahma came. And he wanted from Lord Brahma the benediction that he could have a daughter that would surpass the daughter of the Himalayas, or we would have a son-in-law that would surpass the son-in-law of the Himalayas. So Brahma gave that benediction. And it's a little involved. Doesn't go from A to B. So here's what happened. I'll read because it's very involved. And it's not what, we're not used to hearing this in Krishna book. Purnamasi is having a conversation in this drama. Gargi is the daughter of Gargamuni, a Brahmani, and Purnamasi is a Brahmani, very elder, the mother of Sandipani Muni. So Purnamasi is having conversation with Gargi. And she says, "It is Brahma's words, O Mount Vindhya, to fulfill your desire, you'll have 2 daughters who will give you a son-in-law who will defeat Lord Shiva and whose virtues will fill the world with wonder." Gargi, how did Radha go from Mount Vindhya to Gokula? Because earlier was narrated, Radha became the daughter of the Vindhya Hills. So how did Radha go from the Vindhya Hills to Gokula? Purnamasi, Radha was kidnapped by Putana, the kidnapper of children. Gargi, oh, witches that steal children generally eat their victims. This girl is very fortunate to be saved. Purnamasi, O daughter, Kamsa ordered her to kill any extraordinary small boys and kidnap any small girls. Gargi, why did the king ask her to do these two things? Purnamasi, he was pushed by the words of Devaki's demigoddess daughter. Who's the demigoddess daughter? Is Durga, right? The female child. She said to Kamsa, this is Durga said to Kamsa, the same person who in your previous birth severed your head with a chakra raised in battle, the same person who the sages know as he whose two lotus feet are worshipped by the demigods, the same person who pleases his loving devotees by showering them with oceans of nectar bliss, the same person who is the root from which the universe has sprouted and has now appeared in this world at the same time of the moon's rising. Today or the day after, 8 sublimely sweet Shaktis will appear on this earth, 2 sisters who are like great palaces of beautiful transcendental qualities will also appear. When he defeats Shiva, Lord Krishna, the King of Kings, will accept the hand of both the girls in marriage. So one of them is Radha, and then if you keep going with the dramas of Rupa Goswami, we'll hear this evening about Radha's entering the river Jamuna, being taken by the sun god, and then later in his dramas, Radha appears in Dwarka as Satyabhama. I told you, keep your seatbelt fastened. Now, this is Rupa Goswami's realizations. It's not fiction. And these are expansions, just like Krishna expands in many, many forms. Radha expands in many, many forms. And one of Radha's expansions is Satyabhama. This is a mystery that's spoken about, written about rather, by many of our acharyas. It's not only Rupa Goswami that writes, but each of the 16,100 princesses that were imprisoned by, what was his name? Bhaumasura, or Narakasura. They, according to our acharyas, they were actually gopis who were kidnapped by Narakasura, put in prison, and he was going around telling people they're princesses, but they're actually gopis from Vrindavan, or expansions of the gopis from Vrindavan who later Krishna married. And that's the 16,100, and then there's the 8. I'm glad you're all experienced devotees because you can handle all this new understanding. So that's what happened to the two sisters were kidnapped by Putana. What happened to the second sister? We're going to come back to what happened to Radha. Radha was given to Mukura. But the second sister was Chandravali. Chandravali in Vrindavan, Vrindavani becomes who? In Krishna's Līlā in Dwarka. Rukmini. When Vindhya's chief priest chanted a demon-killing mantra, so Putana came and kidnapped the two. The priest chanted a mantra to kill the demon, Putana, for kidnapping the two daughters of Vindhya Hills. And Putana knew that, and her heart became struck with fear. And as she was flying through the air, she flew over the Vidarbha province. What's the Vidarbha province? It's the province of King Bhishmaka. And King Bhishmaka's daughter was Rukmini. As she, Putana, was hastily flying over Vidarbha province, the first of her victims dropped from her hands and fell in a river's current. Gargi, speaking of her father, who's Gargamuni. My father is omniscient. Why then did he say that as a result of a benediction granted by Durvasa Muni, Srimati Radharani appeared from King Vrishabhanu's chest? Answer. Gargamuni said that to his daughter, so she's asking, my father is omniscient. Why did he say this? Born as the daughter of King Vrishabhanu by benediction from Lord Brahma. Gargi. Purnamasi. Requested by Brahma, Lord Hari's Yogamaya potency removed these two infant girls from the wombs of their wives, Chandrabhanu and Vrishabhanu's wives. Lord Hari's Yogamaya potency removed the two daughters from the wives of their mothers and placed them in the womb of Vindhya's wife. Gargi. Did the two fathers know what happened? Purnamasi, certainly they understood. Why would Durvasa Muni not help them? Now here Durvasa Muni is getting into the mix. Doesn't explain. Gargi, how do you know all this? Purnamasi, Narada Muni explained all this to me. And this explanation has made me attached to Radha. Now we're going to shift again to Radha. It was Chandravali, now it's Radha. Is it true that when the witch was killed, you took Radha from her lap? So there's the painting. Putana was killed. Of course, this is not... Anyway, this is Rupa Goswami. Not only I took Radha, but 5 other girls too. Who were they? So she names Lalita, Chandravali's friend Padma, Bhadra, Shaibya, and Shama. Gargi wants to know, how were these girls placed among the gopis? Purnamasi said, I distributed them, the 5. In a secret place, I happily gave virtuous Radha to Yashoda's nurse, Mukharā, and said, O elderly one, here is your son-in-law, Vrishabhanu's daughter. So Kirtida was her daughter, Vrishabhanu was her son-in-law. Here's your son-in-law's daughter, given to Mukura by Purnamasi. Very interesting. This continues to play, since this is one of the personalities in Krishna's Līlā, who is the grandmother of Radha. She has an important role to play. So here's the other text. Swiftly and secretly, happily gave virtuous Radha to Yashoda's nurse, Mukharā, and said, O elderly one, here is your son-in-law, Rishabhanu's daughter. Here's a more expanded painting. We don't see 5 girls anywhere, or 6 girls. There's, we see little Krishna on top of the body of Putana. Now, after Mukharā, how was it? What was the arrangement for Radha to marry Abhimanyu? The arrangement for Radha to marry Abhimanyu, Rupa Goswami explains, is that after Putana was killed, Kamsa, because Kamsa had sent Putana with a mission, kill Krishna. And this other one is, that whatever girls are killed, are there virtuous girls, kidnap them. So Kamsa then called his 2 associates, Keshi and Arishtasura, and said, this just happened. So I want you to go to Vrindavan, to Gokul, and do some spy work. Find out what happened. What's the real story? So they both went, Keshi and Arishtasura. This is Rupa Goswami's writing. And they discovered Krishna and they discovered Radharani. And they saw the beauty of Radharani. And specifically, Keshi advised, you should make Radha your wife. Very good idea. Very good idea. And to have just the perfect person to send. And that's Shankuda. Because Shankuda was very powerful and, very surrendered to Kamsa. So he sent him on the mission to go kidnap Radharani. Now, the description that's found elsewhere in the 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam is a little different than this one. That Shankuda, the Bhagavatam explanation was there was a festival, a holy festival, and as was the custom at the time, on the occasion of Holi, there's music and dancing and merrymaking and glorifications. And Shankuda happened along at that time, saw Krishna and Balaram, each with their sets of girls, having nice time on the occasion of Holi. He just completely ignored Krishna and took Radharani. And as he took Radharani, Radharani called out and many things happened. Krishna finished Shankuda. But this is a buried version where Shankuda is on a mission on behalf of Kamsa to bring Radharani to Mathura. Some of you have been to Vrindavan? How many have been to Vrindavan? Okay, so many. And when you go to Vrindavan, of course, you go to Govardhan Hill. And along the eastern side of Govardhan Hill is where this pastime took place, where Shankuda came and tried to kidnap Radharani. So when it became known by Mukharā that Kamsa was interested in Radharani, she panicked because grandmother wants her young daughter, or granddaughter, to be protected. So she began consulting and consulting. First of all, the description is, she shifted Radha to another place, to Shantanu Vas, and later made this marriage arrangement. She consulted, and Abhimanyu was a good cowherd man, and so a marriage arrangement was made. And later, Krishna came to find out about the marriage arrangement. This one I've heard from Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj. He likes to tell this. Krishna was, one of Krishna's friends offered him a laddu. And he said, oh, where'd you get this? He said, there was a wedding. And Krishna started to take a bite of the laddu, saying, oh, and who was married? Oh, Radharani married Abhimanyu. And he spat it out. Terrible. So Mukura is behind the scene making this marriage arrangement. But our acharyas reassure us that he never even as much as said a hand, a finger. He didn't touch even the shadow of Radharani. In fact, sometimes it's said, in several places it's said, Abhimanyu is the Krishna's shadow, but his shadow didn't touch the shadow of Radharani. So she remained pure, without any contact of Abhimanyu. But all three of these, Abhimanyu, Jatila, and Katila, we'll hear this tomorrow morning, but they have an important role to play in making obstacles. And Mukharā is a little different. She's not the same as those three, but she is very protective of Radharani. Not possessive, but protective. So the details of the Shankuda story you've already heard a little bit. Here's something further. So one of the gopis, this is taken from the Līlā Madhava, same place, Act 2. Purnamasi speaking. Uddhava, she's speaking to Vrinda. Uddhava, the crest jewel of advisors, has just come from Mathura city and told me the latest news. Evil, Kamsa, the black spot on the Bhoja dynasty, called for Arishta and Keshi, to go check things out. Putin has been killed, squished, and find out what happened. Keshi saw the transcendental glory of Radha and Madhava, and then he accurately described it all to Kamsa. So Kamsa sent Shankuda. We've gone over this. And Kundalata, another person in the drama, hastily comes in on the stage and says, oh, I've seen a great wonder, I've seen a great wonder. Purnamasi, what was that wonder? Near Govardhan Mala's house, I just now saw the brilliantly shining sun god. Vrinda says, it's just because Radharani worships the sun god, he's coming to pay his respects to Srimati Radharani. Purnamasi says, that's not the sun god. This must be the yaksha sent by Kamsa. That's Shankuda. So what are yaksha's role? One of their roles is they're very devoted to Kuvera. And so Shankuda was a yaksha very devoted to Kuvera, and he was put in charge of his treasury. And he became fascinated by a particular jewel, and he stole it. Sometimes guards steal. This is not the sun god, this must be the yaksha sent by Kamsa. Kundalata says it must be the sun god. No yaksha is effulgent like that. Purnamasi says this light is not the natural effulgence of his body, it comes from some other thing, from the jewel on his crown. Right? He had a jewel on his crown. Where did he get such a splendid jewel? He was the leader of the guards watching Kuvera's treasury building. He liked that jewel and he stole it. So here comes here comes Shankuda over by Govardhan Mala's house, and he is effulgent like the sun, We covered all of this already. This is from Lalita Madhava, yes. So as we're going to go to another scene involving Mukura, of course, where Shankuda comes onto the stage and he sees Radha. Radha is seated on a throne. Ratna Singhasana Stau. She's seated on a throne. She looks like the girl described by Govardhan Malla. I know that now is my chance. Now I will do my work. He comes rushing forward. Now Krishna is with Radha. And Krishna speaks to Radha. Please, let's enjoy together, basically. And Radha says, wait a minute, this isn't the proper thing to do. And now we hear from offstage Mukura saying, Radha, why have you been gone for so long? Krishna's asking Kundalata, why is Mukura complaining? And Kundalata says, O charming Krishna, of what importance is the poverty of old ladies complaining to a person like you, an amorous hero who, enjoying pastimes in the forest groves, makes waves of playful sidelong glances. So Mukura comes on stage, and she sees Krishna with Radha. Oh, what great misfortune! Why has this Kalpa Lata creeper abandoned a sandal tree to rest on this castor oil plant? Radha, my child, you have become a pet doe for this crest jewel of debauchees. This is a drama. Lalita says, noble lady, look, this Krishna has tricked us and is making fun of us. Now this is Shankuda. She's noticing Shankuda. Mukura, debauchee, stop, stop. Krishna says, she's very harsh, I'm going to disappear. And he hides. But Mukura's hard of seeing, and it's dark at night. Lalita, chase him, chase the rascal. Lalita, why do you flee? Mukura, insulting words. By good luck we have caught you, O snake that attacks the gopis. By good luck we have caught you. Krishna's hiding, she hasn't found him. How will this almost blind old lady see me in this dense darkness? But she doesn't see Krishna, she sees Shankuda. Mukura is looking everywhere. Krishna says, the old lady has seen a flower floating in the sky. Pushpa Akash, phantasmagoria. Now we've got you. She's looking at Shankuda. And then she sees him with fangs. And she becomes frightened. Oh, rascal. Purnamasi spoke the truth when she said, you could assume many forms like those of Nrsimha and Vraja. You have assumed the form of this terrifying demon, as brilliant as the sun. This form frightens me. Shankuda. By good luck, I've escaped the gaze of that boy who was the personification of all powerful heroes. Shankuda disappears. And everyone's frightened because Shankuda is very fierce looking. Mukura. Dar Krishna, this is not right, just appearing in this demon-like looking form. Lalita says, oh, Mukura, you fool. Do you think this terrible demon is Krishna in disguise? Shankuda. Now, in order to fulfill the unfulfilled desire of my dear friend King Kamsa, I will grab the hair of this lotus-like girl on this throne and drag her away. And he starts dragging Radha away, similar to what's in 10th Canto Bhagavatam. And the gopis call out, Krishna, where are you? Please help. So Krishna comes out of hiding. Eager with hundreds of desires, I brought you to this place deep in Vrindavan forest, filled with the sweet fragrances of the full moon autumn night. O beautiful one, why has cruel fate, appearing as this tricky demon Shankuda, now carried you far away? Speaks to Mukura. Noble lady, don't fear, I will rescue her. Mukura. Oh, moon-faced boy, may victory attend you. Now she's on Krishna's side. Wicked demon, offensive to Sri Radha, I feel great pain because I cannot spend eternity torturing you. The wicked black night of death now chases you, covering you with all its limbs. How will I torture you forever if you merely die? Krishna exits off the stage. Look, look, Shankuda has abandoned Radha, and now he is going to fight with Krishna. They have a fight, and Krishna finishes him. Everyone is relieved. The curtain closes. Then the curtain opens again. Purnamasi comes onto the stage. Daughter Lalita, don't be unhappy. Know that this demon is a spark, soon to be extinguished. With the chivalrous strength of his arms, powerful Krishna attacked the hideous form of the Shankuda demon, who has fearsome curling fangs in his horrible mouth. In the middle of the forest, Krishna, who wears a peacock feather in his hair, struck Shankuda with millions of blows, killed him, and took from his crown a jewel effulgent like the sun. So before they were thinking he was the sun god, but he's not. Remember when Satyajit comes into Dwarka? The citizens of Dwarka think the sun god has come, but it's Satyajit with the jewel. It's the same jewel. Yeah. So here's Krishna giving the sako to Shankuda. Here's another one. And there's the jewel on his head. And he takes the jewel from his turban, and along with his life goes the turban, which gives him life and energy and strength. And he gives then the jewel to Balaram. And later, Balaram gives the jewel to Radha, secretly, privately, not with Mukharā watching. But so Mukharā is very happy that Krishna protected her granddaughter. So things are made nice. But later, so as all of this continues, when we're going to hear shortly, in feelings of separation from Krishna, Radha, did we hear it already? Yes? Yes? No? Radha enters the river Jamuna? No. Radha enters the river Jamuna with Vishaka. And Radha is carrying with her the jewel. She gives the jewel to the sun god. The sun god gives the jewel to Satyajit. Satyajit gives the jewel and his daughter Satyabhama to Krishna. Wow. Better than Harry Potter, right? I don't know what that plot is, but if people like it, it seems. So there's the sun god giving the Shamantaka jewel to Satyajit. So we're going to hear something more about Mukharā. She's described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Krishna Bhavanamrita Mahakavya. He writes, Mukharā, whose very life is the audience of her granddaughter Radhika's lotus-like face, and who is like a box full of jewels of parental affection, came in and called out, Radha, my daughter, where are you? This is in the early morning. Radha has been with Krishna all night, Radhika said, "Oh, Holy Mother, here I am." As she yawned and got up, looking at Mukharā with eyes rolling from sleep. When Mukura saw Sri Krishna's yellow cloth on Sri Radhika's chest, she pretended not to see it in order to not embarrass her. She said, "Radha, morning has broken. Why are you still sleeping? Don't you see that the sun is already up? Take your bath and eat something before you go out to do your puja. Alas, your body is getting skinnier every day." While saying this, Mukura sprinkled Sri Radhika with her loving teardrops. With her hand, she caressed her body, and then she took Radhika on her lap to fondle her before hurrying to the palace of King of Vraja, being eager to see Krishna. This is one description of Mukharā's involvement with Sri Radhika. And you heard from Amarendra about Krishnadas Kaviraj, and not in Bengali but in Sanskrit he wrote Govinda Līlamrita. He makes reference to Mukura. Repeatedly telling herself, "Oh, how amazing! Morning has broken and still my granddaughter is sleeping." Mukura, whose body melted of affection, entered Radha's bedroom and told her, "Oh, my girl, get up from bed now. Oh, bewildered girl, have you forgotten that it's Sunday today? Take your bath and quickly prepare your paraphernalia for worshipping the sun god with morning oblations." Vishaka awoke from hearing Mukura's words and quietly got up, despite the fact that she was still very tired, saying, "My dear friend, quickly, get up, get up." Because of Mukura's and Vishaka's words, bewildered Radha woke up and fell asleep time after time. Her body, exhausted from love play, looked like a lordly swan swung by the moving waves of a pond. Then Sri Ratamanjari, seeing her opportunity, began to serve the lotus feet of her friend, Radha, the princess of Vrindavan. Being repeatedly addressed by Vishaka and Mukura, Sri Radhika got up from bed. Then Mukura, seeing Krishna's yellow cloth on her, said with an anxious heart, "Vishake, look, what is this? Yesterday evening I saw this bright golden cloth on Murari's chest, but now your friend is wearing it. Alas, alas, how could this happen to a pure housewife?" Vishaka, hearing these words, cast a quick glance on the yellow cloth and anxiously thought, "Oh, what is this?" Then she quickly told Mukara, "Oh, naturally blind lady, the golden sun rays coming in through the window makes my friend's blue cloth look golden also. Oh, bewildered old lady, why are you giving anxiety to pure-hearted girls?" Mukura has a role to play in Krishna's pastimes with Radharani. Now, another point A to point B, not a straight line, description by Rupa Goswami in Lalita Madhava, Act 4. So the focus is now, Krishna has gone from Vrindavan on the chariot of Krura to Mathura. And Krishna is feeling great anxiety in separation from the residents of Vrindavan, particularly Srimati Radharani. So Purnamasi has a plan. Purnamasi's plan is in Mathura, she's going to stage a drama. So this is drama within a drama. Purnamasi's drama of meeting with Radha. And Mukharā is in the drama. She's actually in the audience seeing the drama. Mukharā leaves Vrindavan to be with her granddaughter, and she's watching what's on the stage. Mukharā witnessed Radha's entering into the river Jamuna with Vishaka. And she's grief-stricken that she may never see Radha again, because it looked like they just drowned in the river Jamuna. But when she's in the audience seeing Radha on the stage, it's not Radha, it's Radha on the stage, there she is. And she starts to run, and Purnamasi grabs her and says, "Oh, noble lady, sit down. It's just a drama. It's not your granddaughter." "Oh, Radha." So in the audience, there's 4 people. There's Uddhava, because he's in Mathura with Krishna. And Madhu Mangal is there, because Madhu Mangal also comes to join Krishna in Mathura, at least for this drama. He's in the audience also. Shortly, Mukharā also comes. And then there's the actors on the stage. Uddhava says, Krishna allows himself to come under the control of his affectionate devotees' love. Controlled by their love, even though he is the master of all omniscient sages, he becomes bewildered. Even though he is the crushed jewel of all omnipotent deities, still he becomes stunned and powerless. Even though his nature is eternal, transcendental bliss, still he becomes filled with anguish. Gargi says, overwhelmed by Radha's terrible sufferings, he has not found even a moment's happiness. Uddhava, the noble, earnest Purnamasi has created a diversion to soothe the Lord's heart. What was that? Gargi, I see some demigods talking with noble Purnamasi. They must be Gandharvas. Those are the actors that are going to show up on the stage shortly. Uddhava, yes, it is so. Look, accompanied by Madhu Mangal, lotus-eyed Krishna ascends the balcony of the Palace of Rubies to see the play. Gargi says, I will go and bring Mukura. She should see this play also. And Uddhava says, I'm going to assemble the actors for Purnamasi. So on the stage, Krishna says, O playful girl, O girl whose eyes are chakora birds, O moon-faced one, O girl whose lips are bimba fruits, O best of all virtuous girls, O crowned queen of all the girls of Vraja, whose eyes are like kanjana birds, O Radha, why have the wicked actions of fate brought you to this terrible end? Now, I think this is not on the stage. This is from the audience. Madhu Mangal, dear friend, from this spot, it is very difficult for me to see Radha. Krishna says to Madhu, friend, I am now tortured by hope. When suffering Mukharā was about to drown herself, this is when Mukura saw Radha entering into the Jamuna, and she wanted to go also. A voice from the sun planet mercifully told her that Radha had already entered the celestial world. The nectar of those words has now sprouted a single grass blade of hope to meet again Radharani. That blade of grass is now violently piercing my heart. He calls out, Akrura held the horse's reins, about to drive away. Radha's heart trembled with unsteadiness. She cried loudly and tried to climb onto the chariot, but her friend stopped her. She cast a tear-filled glance at me, and I was so cruel at heart that I paused for a moment and then rode away. Alas, I did not take that beautiful girl with me. Uddhava, my lord, The splendid and expert demigod actors are assembled. So the organizer of the drama is about to begin. Uddhava assembled the actors. Into the audience comes Uddhava, Purnamasi, and Mukharā, along with the actors onto the stage. And the announcer, called Sutradhar, says wonderful things about Radharani and so forth and so on. Oh, noble lady, Narada Muni, the spiritual master of the demigods, has sent me from Swargaloka to worship Lord Krishna, the friend of the entire universe, with this beautifully written play. He's on the stage. Krishna and Madhu Mangal and Uddhava are in the audience. This is the meeting with Radha. Let the auspicious introduction now be sung. Look, leaving the Kunda flowers, beauty enters the Malika flowers in the forest. Cuckoos struggle to remember their long neglected skill in singing the fifth note. Pale leaves fall from the banyan trees. A splendid springtime trembles with eagerness. Okay. This is the introduction. Even though old Jatila continually tries to stop them, Krishna eternally pleases Radha with transcendental pastimes. So the actors leave the stage, Krishna's in the audience, and onto the stage comes Madhava, who's a demigod acting as Krishna, and Krishna sees Madhava. Accompanied by its friend, the southern breeze, beautiful springtime is happy. Charming with jubilant bees and birds, Vrindavan forest smiles. If Radha were to meet me here, I would be plunged into the crashing waves of the ocean of intensely blissful pastimes. Madhu Mangal says, the demigod actors have created a double of my dear friend Krishna. Uddhava, his new flute, like a swan in the beautiful lotus flower of his hand, the wonderful beauty of his gunja necklace eclipsing the splendor of rubies, and the tip of his peacock feather crown moving in the gentle breeze, this dark splendor delights my heart. Krishna says, my dear friend, this dramatic actor appears like a second form of my own self. Like a picture, he displays my pastimes as a cowherd boy, overflowing with wonderfully attractive sweetness and fragrance, which are so dear to the damsels of Vraja. When I see such a display, my heart becomes greatly excited. I long for such pastimes and desire a form exactly like the damsels of Vraja. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Rupa Goswami. Now I shall ask this question of you. How can this actor enchant even my heart with the moonlight of this form? Uddhava's reply, this transformation is possible because of Devarshi Narada's pure devotion to you. Krishna says, am I that actor on the stage, or am I the person observing him from the audience? I cannot decide. With unblinking eyes, I stare at the great wonder before me. So what's Rupa Goswami doing? He's drawing us into the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Through the drama of Krishna feeling separation from Radha, as he's in Mathura, having just arrived in Mathura from Vrindavan. So on the stage, Madhava says, now that I am separated from my beloved, these buzzing bees make my head spin. This scent of honey robs me of all peacefulness, and these budding flowers fill me with longing to meet her again. Now, Krishna is commenting, how does How does this actor know my inner feelings? By the mercy of this actor, he is able to reveal the innermost feelings of my heart, which remain always unknown to others. On stage, he hears some ankle bells tinkling, and Radha enters. Lalita, Lalita, look, look. These waves are auspicious. A female swan is trapped in the vine, is now free. Now that swan meets her lover in the garden of lotus petals. It's all an allegory. Radha's meeting Krishna. Lalita on the stage. Oh, female swan, this garland of waves has great love for the king of swans. That is why these waves pull you in this way. Have faith and go and meet your lover. Krishna from the audience. No one has suffered as I. For a long time I've been tormented by the flames of separation from Radha. Now, the lotus-eyed Radha, who is a lake where the swan of my heart enjoys pastimes, has appeared before me. And he jumps up and starts to run towards the stage to embrace Radha. Uddhava catches him and says, Lord, this is the scene in a play. Krishna sits down, embarrassed. Her face is so beautiful. It stops poets from glorifying the autumn moon, and so forth. Mukharā also sees Radha on the stage. Oh, granddaughter Radha, you're alive! And she starts to run forward, and Purnamasi grabs the end of her garment and says, oh, woman blinded by love, this is a Gandharva actor at a play. Mukura. Oh, noble lady, I think Radha must have left the sun planet and gone somewhere else. I think the Gandharvas in Swargaloka have now brought her here to this place, and she now stands before us. Radha! Oh, Lalita! Did noble Mukura see me as you brought me from home to pick these flowers? Lalita, on stage, says, noble Mukura was not the only one to see. Jatila also saw her. Yeah. Oh, child, Mukura, in truth, I was very cruel. I made you burn in the flames of suffering. She's in the audience. Madhumangal turns around and snarls at her. Oh, demoness, do not now put on this false show of love. Whenever you saw me near the boundary of the garden of your house, you would bark at me as if you had become a dog. Mukura, noble Madhumangal, what could I have done? I did not know your secret. Noble Purnamasi cheated me. And back to the stage. Radha says, if I was actually seen, then what to do? Lalita on the stage, slowly walking Radha, let's leave this open road and run to the Kadamba forest path by the Jamuna shore. Radha says, why should I wear these ankle bells? They are traitors. They reveal my presence to others. Lalita says, Jatila is very quick. We must fool her. Shh. Jatila enters onto the stage. Why has Radha, the daughter of Maharaj Rishabhanu, not yet appeared on the path of my eyes? Where will I search? So in the drama, it's reenacting the scene in Vrindavan. So Krishna will appreciate, because he loves, we'll hear tomorrow morning. Krishna enjoys the words of Jatila and Kutila more than the choice poetry of professional reciters of the Vedas. So in the scene on the stage, Jatila, actress, is inciting Krishna's feelings of love for Radha in a very special, wonderful way. So she says bad things. Where is Radha? Where will I search for her? She looks in the ground, she looks in the air, and becomes happy. I see the girl's footprints. I know they are her footprints because they bear the auspicious mark of her ankle bells. I will search for her on this path. Radha. Last night I saw some very unusual things in a dream. Lalita. What was it? You were picking flowers in the grove of clove vines when a Vrindavanvasi who walked like a mad elephant suddenly put his hand in yours. As you struggled to escape, he bit your flower lips and pushed his lotus hand, which seemed to be a Cupid's sharp elephant, on your left bunch of flowers. She stopped in the middle of her speech and her head drops. Lalita says, "Oh, honest girl, as I was drawing pictures," let's skip. Jatila. So the girls are running because Jatila is coming and Krishna is watching all this from the stage. Madhava says, if the many things that bring to me a great festival of transcendental happiness to my heart were increased without limit, would they equal the happiness I feel by meeting Radha? If my desire to associate with Radha is even slightly fulfilled, I taste an unparalleled, intense bliss that makes me at once forget the entire world. So Krishna is in the stage, and Krishna turns to Purnamasi, thanking her. Oh, affectionate Purnamasi, in all ways you are very expert at pleasing me. You are more expert than even your spiritual master Narada. By the trick of this dramatic performance, you have made me again enter my very rare and difficult to attain Gokula pastimes. So it goes on. It's very beautiful. So the intention behind this drama was Purnamasi wanted to draw Krishna into feeling again as if he was in Vrindavan with Radha, with the obstacles like Jatila, and experience great joy and have his feelings revealed, have Radha's feelings revealed. And it's a very elegant way, a dramatic way for Rupa Goswami to disclose the loving feelings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or the loving feelings of exchange of love between Radha and Krishna. So how does he know all these things? How does he know all these things? He was empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to know all these things. And yet, so humble. Feeling as a humble person feels, not qualified, and so forth and so on. But his writings are certainly out of this world. And he's not really interested in anything of this world. Viraktiranyatra syat. Rupa Goswami. And so Rupa Goswami is revealing things to us about Radha and Radha's mother, Kirtida, and Kirtida's mother, Mukharā, and the ways in which each of them are assisting Krishna and Srimati Radharani in their loving exchanges. So that's what this weekend together is meant to do. Through the transcendental writings of our great acharyas to give us a glimpse of the spiritual emotions in Vrindavan, in the different ways the different devotees are assisting Krishna, and certainly one of them is Rupa Goswami, assisting us to get a glimpse of the life in Vrindavan Dham. So when we sign up to become Hare Krishna devotees, we're getting a glimpse at what's waiting for us. Of course, we have to become qualified, small thing. But as we become qualified, there's amazing, loving, transcendental exchanges that are out of this world, that are far beyond anything that we know of this world that's called loving exchange. And just to be giving audition to this and knowing that these are the realizations, these are the activities, the exchanges of personalities in Krishna's pastimes through the agency of our great acharyas. Very elevated. So let's see if there's some discussion or comments from anybody.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much. Very enlightening, and many things I learned for the first time. So thank you so much. Just one quick question. You mentioned in that Purna Mausi picked up Mata Radharani and 5 other gopis from Putna, right, and gave Mata Radharani to Mukura for as her granddaughter and daughter for Vishbhanu and Kitaya.
Yes.
But we have heard this, that Mata Radharani was on a rose flower, on a lotus, in Yamuna river. So, how can we link the two concepts?
We don't. It's since you've been around for a while, you know that there are different days of Brahma, and during the different days of Brahma, there's different appearances of Krishna and Radharani, and there's multiple explanations of during different. The answer is during different days of Brahma, there's different ways in which Radharani makes her appearance. One of those, you want to hear? I'll mention a few of them. In Montreal, in the 1960s, Srila Prabhupada spoke about an appearance of Radharani that, when I heard the recording, I thought maybe he got something mixed up. It's like with Ramayana, but it wasn't. It's in one of the Puranas, where Vrishabhanu was plowing the field. Something very similar to Sita's appearance. He was plowing the field, and anyway, he was plowing the field, and from the furrow came a golden child, and he accepted that child was his child. So similar to the Ramayana description of Sita's appearance. So it wasn't a mistake. It's just mentioned in another Purana, and Prabhupada narrated that version, that's how Radharani appeared. There's other versions aside from in Raval, at Vrishabhanu Kund, and in Varsana, there's a Vrishabhanu Kund, and he was once bathing in Vrishabhanu Kund and saw a golden lotus flower with Radharani on top, and so forth. And of course this one, as the daughter of the Vindhya Hills, is transferred from the womb of Kirtida to the womb of Vindhya's wife and Radharani, and so it's different. So we can take it minimally. There are different days of Brahma, and during different days of Brahma, different events.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Maharaj, my question was, for Purnamasi to enact all of this, does Krishna have to desire it, or does she do it out of her own will to please Krishna?
Nice question. What do you think? 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, right? In other words, personalities like Purnamasi, it's their volition, but their volition is inspired by the controller of everyone and everything. But so her volition is active, and Krishna is the inspirer. So he's appreciating how she's wonderfully orchestrating his happiness. But she is his potency. And the potency acts according to the potent's will. Doesn't negate the will of the potency. She's moved to do as she does by Krishna's inspiring that ultimately. He's the controller of everything.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for the class. Maharaj, Purnamasi is Yogamaya. So, what is the role of Subhadra related to Yogamaya?
What's the role of?
Subhadra related to Yogamaya.
She's, her function is outside of Vrindavan. Similar to the gopis expanding, Radharani's expanding, the gopis expanding, Krishna expanding, Purnamasi's expanding. Her function is outside of Vrindavan. And Purnamasi's territory is Vrindavan.
So, yeah, outside Vrindavan means in Dwarka.
Say it again?
Outside Vrindavan as in Dwarka? Or?
Well, yeah, but Subhadra also goes where Arjuna is, besides Dwarka. So outside of Vrindavan.
Thank you, Maharaj.
It's very mysterious, isn't it? Doesn't fit with linear thinking. It's very mysterious. It's very wonderful. It's filled with mystery. And as you go further, mystery doesn't end. It becomes more and more profound. That's my experience. And so how do you get guided through mystery? You know, we need good guides. We need our acharyas. Hold tightly to the lotus feet of our acharyas, because there's in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Līlā chapter 2, there's a nice verse where Krishnadas Kaviraj writes that liberated souls are beyond the 4 defects. So anything that they write is beyond the 4 defects. It's not imagination. There's no defect. So that's an important, item of faith. Or is it possible for someone to be a liberated soul? And if it is that one of the conditions? So, yes, that is possible, and yes, that's the condition. So we, our acharyas draw, Rupa Goswami included, draws many things from many sources. It's not just realization or that kind of writing, but on authority of Scripture and his realization, he makes declarations that are, they guide us. Just like this description that we heard earlier, the finding of Yogamaya. Yogamaya appeared to him in a vision. No, it doesn't give a description of that vision, but somehow he had a vision that Yogamaya is somewhere at Brahmakund. So he began excavating at Brahmakund, and he found Yogamaya, and he began the worship of Yogamaya. And to this day, Yogamaya is being worshipped in that same structure that we saw. So you can say that's, archaeological evidence of something that's not just, Līlā that then becomes unmanifest to our vision. So, we trust our senses, which is not so smart to do that. But there are those that live beyond the senses. And they're good persons to be in the company of when they're very faithful to Lord Chaitanya. Because Lord Chaitanya specifically, he empowered him to do what he did. So with that empowerment, he did what he did. And, we trust in that reality. Yeah. In the back.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. My question is, are these some of these pastimes that has been described by Srila Rupa Goswami and other acharyas, are they being referred in Srimad Bhagavatam or other books written by Srila Vyasadeva?
I'm not sure what your question is.
Means are there? So basically, is it flowing from? Are this reference or are these stories flowing from Srimad Bhagavatam or other books like those?
There multiple Vedic texts and his realizations. Like, for example, I've been reading from the Līlā Madhava, but we also made reference previously to Radha Krishna Gonadesh Deepika. And that's kind of like a who's who in Radha Krishna pastimes. And he gives information about those personalities that are just like, is that from some scripture somewhere? Or, what's the source? Because that's what your question is. Is it 100%? He doesn't write anything unless it comes from scripture. He was empowered. My understanding is this: he was empowered to have these realizations, and he wrote them. And many of them are directionally indicated by scripture, but not necessarily details and details and details. Like this one example, my memory is not so great, but my memory says that several of our acharyas refer to the fact that the 16,100 princesses were not princesses. That was a make-up story that Narakasura made so he could do what he wanted to do. But they were gopis that were taken from Vrindavan, and then who wanted to marry Krishna, and it was Krishna's transcendental arrangement to marry them. But then comes this next one. It's like, those eternal associates of Krishna don't leave Vrindavan, so it's their expansions. Who did he kidnap? It was their expansions. And so where does that come from? You start going deeper and deeper, and where does it come from? There's some scriptural reference to all of this, but then the details are filled in by realizations, guided by the light of scripture, and then details and details.
And the second part of the question is, so for most of the devotees, Vaishnavas basically, these pastimes are very wondrous,
yes,
and very, very, very nice, because we understand to a certain degree the position of Radha and Krishna and their associates.
Yeah.
But in general, the public outside, basically outside of the Vaishnava circle, when they see this kind of pastimes, their reaction is different. Basically, shall we be concerned about that, or what?
Well, I'll respond in an honest way.
I was thinking, on the one hand and on the other hand. No, I'll get to your question, but I was thinking, I'm responding more about going into these very elevated and one might say esoteric descriptions of Rupa Goswami, and is it an appropriate forum in a temple where we don't know what's the level of the people who are sitting here, how much can they understand and how much is going to bounce and how much is going to stir doubts and how much, is it appropriate? I was wondering, I was debating. And I'm just sharing. I've come here many times to Potomac Temple. I find that the devotees in Potomac are eager to hear something like what Ananda Vrindavan commented. And so there are some places where it's appropriate and some places where it may not, it's definitely not appropriate. Now, this is not just the audience in the room. There's a recording and it's YouTube and it's going to go out. And so is it okay if it just goes out? Well, it's Rupa Goswami's writings. And we're Rupanugas. So it's good, I believe. So I decided to go ahead. It's good for people who are Rupanugas to get a something more of a sense of who is Rupa Goswami, who we're the Anugas of. Just like at the very beginning, in the prana mantras to Bhakti Siddhanta, Rupa Anuga is variety, it's mentioned twice. And we're followers. So it may not be, the persons in the room or the persons who may be viewing this may not understand. We'll get to your question. Indirectly, I am. It's good for us who are followers of Rupa Goswami to get a sense of the scope and the depth and the profound revelations that Rupa Goswami was giving to the world. Not everything, but something of a sense of that. And wow. So, not every class is this, but the topic itself was because I mentioned, but Amarendra loves Vrindavan. And we were going to do something together. Let's speak something Vrindavan. So, okay. How about this? Yeah, okay. Personalities in Vraja Līlā. Now, you're back to settling on your question. Yes, persons are going to doubt when they hear, not just this, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse number 1. Krishna spoke, and Arjuna was doubting. What's going on? He spoke to the sun god, Vivaswan spoke to Manu, and Manu spoke to Ikshvaku, and, what's going on? And that's introductory. So there's a place, and yes, persons who are not bhakti inclined or Gaudiya bhaktas inclined may have a problem. But at the same time, you take any of the sampradayas, and they have very elevated teachings about deities and the histories of their acharyas, and it's their breath, it's their bread and butter, it's their life. So might there be persons who will be spun out hearing this type of thing? Like, these people are silly. How can they be devoted to such fanciful ideas? Yes, it's a risk. And therefore, the audiences have to be selected carefully. What is spoken before what audiences? And you can take the other topics. Take the cosmology topic. It's right in the Bhagavatam. And some people are going to go, their eyes are going to roll in their head when they hear cosmology, Vedic cosmology. But for others, it's fascinating. It's not mythology, it's fascinating and verifiable, empirically verifiable. And other topics that people get spun out by. So one has to be audience sensitive and a little discriminating. But I think it's good for our devotees here to have an idea of how elevated is Rupa Goswami and the depth of the place that he and the followers of Rupa Goswami want to take us. It's very amazing. Okay. Anything else? Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.